So, what happens when a guy who's supposed to be unkillable starts to die? Well, that's exactly what we're digging into today. We're breaking down the final, absolutely brutal journey of a hero staring down his own mortality in Old Man Logan: End of the World. Okay, so our story kicks off not with some big heroic fight, but with this silent warning from space. About a month ago, something on fire just rips through the atmosphere and crashes into the Atlantic, right off the coast of Canada. It was just one splash. But believe me, the ripples from that one event, they're about to become a tidal wave of pure destruction. Yeah, and let's be clear, this is not the story of Wolverine in his prime, not even close. What we're seeing here is literally the end of a legend. Logan's up against the one enemy he can't just slice and dice his way through, his own body giving out. And you see this contrast, right? On one side, you've got that classic Logan fury we all know and love, that animalistic, pure refusal to quit. But then, on the other side, you see what's really happening. His legendary healing factor, it's finally failing him. This means for the first time, maybe ever, every single fight, every wound, it could actually be the last one. And the first big test of this new fragility, it doesn't even come from an old enemy. It comes from the stars. This alien threat, it's not just some monster he has to fight. Its real job in the story is to show us, and him, just how close to the edge Logan really is. So, that thing that fell out of the sky, definitely not a meteor. It unleashed this monstrous, parasitic creature, a brand new, kind of plant-like version of the Brood, who are already one of the most terrifying things in the galaxy. And this thing isn't just a monster. It's basically a plague, and it is rapidly taking over the entire Canadian town of Shag Harbour. Of course, Canada's #1 superhero team, Alpha Flight, they show up to try and contain this thing, and they are throwing everything they have at it. Energy blasts, super strength, you name it. But it's all just bouncing off its weird, super tough exoskeleton. It's like they're trying to punch a living fortress. So Logan, realizing that fighting it from the outside is completely useless, comes up with this totally desperate one-way plan. He's gonna let the creature literally swallow him whole, but he's taking a can of gasoline with him. The plan? Blow it up from the inside out. Yeah, it's a suicide mission. And the plan works. The monster goes up in a massive explosion. But the cost is just staggering. Guardian pulls Logan from the inferno, and he's horrifically burned. This one single act almost kills him for good, pushing his fading healing factor way past its breaking point. He's now weaker than he's ever been. And just when Logan is at his absolute lowest, a new threat shows up. But this monster isn't from outer space. No, this one is a ghost from a dark, twisted future, a future Logan thought he'd already left behind. You gotta meet Maestro. And seriously, forget everything you think you know about the Hulk. This is a version from a timeline where everything went horribly wrong. He's been driven mad, he's a genius, and he's just pure nihilism. He's stronger, way smarter, and just infinitely more cruel than the Hulk we know. Maestro's attack is just immediate and absolutely devastating. There's no big speech, no monologuing. He just slams Logan through a wall right off the bat. It immediately shows Logan, and us, that this is a fight he has no chance of winning with just brute force. The power gap is insane. But, backing down has never really been Logan's style, has it? Even as his body is just screaming at him to stop, he fights back with that classic ferocity, sinking his claws deep into Maestro's chest. And for just a split second, you think, wow, maybe the old Wolverine's still got a chance. Yeah, that moment doesn't last long. The fight ends with Logan just completely defeated, a broken mess in the snow. Maestro just stands over him and contemptuously tells someone to clean up this mess. He dismisses him like he's just trash. And Maestro's whole motivation? It's terrifyingly simple. He's basically a refugee from his own dead, conquered timeline. Now he's just hopping through dimensions, looking for a new world to take over, and he really just wants Logan to get out of his way. So in their final desperate showdown, Logan has to rely on his brain. He knows he can't win a slugfest, so he provokes Maestro, taunts him, gets him to lean in close, and that's the opening he needs. With one swift, brutal strike to the neck, Logan brings a shocking end to the tyrant's reign.
You know, defeating this ghost from one dark future kind of forces us to look back at the one Logan actually managed to escape. And we get a pretty grim look at that reality through the eyes of another old, broken hero who never got out.
This one line from Frank Castle, the Punisher, it just perfectly sums up the entire mindset of the Wastelands. It's a future where the heroes flat out failed, the villains won, and the war for the world, well, that ended a long, long time ago.
The world Old Man Logan ran from is a total post-apocalyptic nightmare. The villains took over decades ago. The U.S. is now just this patchwork of territories run by supervillain warlords and their gangs. And in this brutal new world, Frank Castle's war on crime didn't end. It just adapted. But don't get it twisted. He's not a savior. He's more like a force of nature. He cuts this bloody path through the new warlords, frees their prisoners, but offers them zero hope. He just gives them a choice. Take these guns and try to survive, or die. It's this grim, practical outlook that is pure wastelands. So after all of this, after all the fights, after outliving his friends, his enemies, and even a version of his own terrible future, what's actually left for a guy like Logan? What was the whole point? Victory doesn't bring any relief. There's no party, no celebration. All there is the crushing weight of his pain, the freezing cold of the snow, and this grim, quiet realization that his long, violent life is finally, truly coming to an end. And the story, it doesn't really give us an easy answer. Instead, it just leaves us with this really powerful question about what your purpose is when it all comes to an end. Why do you keep fighting when everyone and everything you ever fought for is gone? For Old Man Logan, maybe the only thing left is to just walk his own path, right to the very end. No big cause, no team to fight for, just doing it on his own terms. One last chance to be the best there is at what he does.